Hey guys, this is FNGR, and for no good reason today we're going to talk about my slow descent into madness in trying to make a viable Thorns Crusader. This will be focused on Legacy of Nightmares, and some of the problems I have had, and you may have had if you were starting to gear for this build. Full disclosure, my Crusader is my least played class. I managed to complete a Greater Rift 70 with 6 minutes over comfortably. My main class is Witch Doctor, and I run Helltooth up to Greater Rift 81. I did use that class to collect the blood shards and crafting materials. I was starting to try out the Invoker set combined with farming public games with the Crusader. And the funny thing is, I was finding more ancient legendaries for the Crusader than proper Invoker gear. If you're thinking you have 8 to 10 ancient legendaries laying around, and 2 pieces of the Legacy of Nightmare rings with fairly decent rolls, you might be considering to ditch the Invoker set entirely. Well, when I started feeling comfortable doing Rifts 12 to 13 without feeling like dead weight, my cooldown was 62.99 and my current cooldown is 64.99. Yes, that's on top of using the passive Lord and Commander to lower the cooldown for Bombardment and Steady Charge by 25%. At 62.99 cooldown, provided I don't get stuck on anything, I can keep Steed's charge in permanent uptime, maybe down for a second. A major difference between Legacy of Nightmares and Thorns of the Invoker for the Crusader, Legacy of Nightmares doesn't require for you to run the fucking hack, the weapon. Instead, you're gonna run Swift Mount, which will double your time in Steed's charge. This is defensive and offensive, and it's gonna play into a couple of things. The main reason you don't need the hack axe is you have no primary attack or mana spender in this build. Everything already does Thorns. I'm told you can use a Doombringer for this build instead of Swift Mount, but seeing as how fast you're moving and for how long, I couldn't be bothered to try out my ancient Doombringer for it. You can literally take every wrong turn possible, and blunders that take you 30 seconds or more are reduced to 5 seconds tops to correct. This is a wonderful build for Rifts, Greater Rifts, and most of all bounties. Earlier in the build's lifecycle, I only had Coldeson's Despair on 2 pieces of the gear, with the main stat being 400, or the gem being used to apply CD, Coldeson's Despair, being leveled up to 80. So yeah, you're likely going to be using your best existing class to make this work. I currently have CD, or Coldeson's Despair, on 7 pieces of my gear. To be perfectly clear, I'm using Strength, and you might ask why I bothered to bring that up. Because Heart of Iron, there are 2 pieces of armor in the chest you're going to need for this bad boy to work. Achilles' Cuirass, because it reduces all damage taken by 50% as long as your primary resource is up. Guess what? We're never using your primary resource in this build at all, and that 50% damage reduction will always be up. Or you can run Heart of Iron, which gives you 300% of Vitae as Thorns. You will naturally be putting one of these 2 in the Canias Cube for the armor slot. Here's the pros and cons for using either or. Heart of Iron rolls with Thorns built into the secondary. However, Heart of Iron's 300% bonus is random and rolls between 250 and 300 for the Vitae being multiplied. If you put that into the cube, it's always 300. If you get a high enough roll on Heart of Iron, well, you're golden to use that. Or if you get Achilles' Caress with Thorns and Ancient, you're set. This is an added bonus, and it's super goddamn important. Try not to ignore it, I've made this mistake. Your big damage skill will be Bombardment. There are 3 pieces of gear that can roll a bonus to Bombardment damage. 1 is in the chest, the one we just got done talking about. 2 is in the Crusader's shield. It has to be a class-specific shield, i.e. one of the shields only the Crusader can use. Lastly, it rolls on shoulders. That can be a little tricky since you want to get cooldown and the bonus to Bombardment on the shoulders. Getting higher cooldown is more important than the bonus to Bombardment, but try and get them both. I swear it's worth it. I originally tried to skip on this bonus to the skill, and I sank Coldeson's Despair into the chest, and I suspect I'm going to need a better version to get into deeper Greater Rifts. The only thing I don't have cooldown on is my amulet. I actually think this is pretty damn good, GG or great game. A socket, physical damage, Vitae and life percent, Thorns and 30% damage reduction versus projectiles. I don't technically need the 18% to life, but as an unnecessary stat, I'll take it. My life per hit is currently 4,200, mostly because critical damage and critical chance mean nothing on a Thorns build. I've been told that attack speed is good for Thorns, but I don't have it on anything. But I did have a ton of attack speed on my Invoker's build, and that wasn't nearly as powerful as this. Speaking of must-have, Saint Archer's Gauge. These gloves will roll up to letting your first 150 damage by an elite pack get soaked for 10 seconds. If you're outfitted properly, that will be more than enough time. In fact, you might even get to your next elite pack by then. Remember, everything that you can get cooldown on should have cooldown on it and should be close to max as possible. Your strength and vitae will multiply your damage, and you're going to want diamonds in your chest and pants for all resist. My vitae is currently 9,500, and I'm sure that's a little high, and my life is 1,400,000, which, keep in mind, with Steed's charge, I can get out of trouble very easily, which combos with Molten Wild Beast's Gizzard, the legendary gem, ignoring the first stat, which gives you a bonus to life regen. If you haven't taken damage in 4 seconds, you gain a shield for 200% of your total life. My life shield is nearly 3 million, and I also have the ability to get away for 4 seconds very easily. So not only are you going to end up being very fast, but you're going to be beyond durable. If you're getting one-shotted using this gear, you'll really need to lower the difficulty. Remember, with Legacy of Nightmares, do not wear any other kind of set, or the bonus will not work. And Legacy of Nightmares will shut off, which means you're losing 100% of your damage per piece of ancient gear, and 4% damage reduction. That's 1,300 to damage and 52% to damage reduction if you're wearing nothing but ancient legendaries. You're going to want to get Hexing Pants of Mr. Yan, which gives you a bonus to damage while you're moving and a negative to damage when you're still. Guys and gals, we're going to be moving. For shoes, I'm using Ice Climbers because they roll with Thorns and 600 to strength and vitae. I'm told illusionary boots are better because you're going to always be able to walk through enemies. It hasn't really been a major problem for me, and it might be in Greater Rifts, but so far so good. I'm using a Spiker's Shield, and it kind of looks like a spider. It gave me double the Thorns damage while enemies are provoked. It's not a Crusader shield, so I can't get Bombardment, and you might want something else. If you have any questions or critiques, see in the comments. And yes, this took a lot of goddamn time to put together, so see you next time. Powered. And let's just do this. I am straight up just gonna Greater Rift Elite Hunt. Pop everything, wait for the horse to fire back up again. There you go! I generally actually wipe out the freaking nobodies, but since we're doing a timed run here and we're trying to get this done as fast as possible, I thought we'd just blow through all the crap. Na, 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 na. And we're gonna wait to stop, pop everything, and pop back into it. One of the problems actually is when you're flying around so fast, it's sometimes hard to get those little tokens that the elites leave behind. Oops, see? I bumped into something, so my downtime lasted 1 second. That happens. Pop everything again. We're already on the 3rd floor. Oop, see? Everything's already dead. Didn't even have to pop anything. Sometimes when you activate things like Provoke or Archon's Champion or Nerves of Steel, you'll pop out of the mount, so you'll want to do it every time it runs out. My worst concern here is I might run out of elites doing it this way. Get to the end of the rift. And... no, good. Just a second of downtime. Oh, cooldown. Beautiful. Some people show off and don't use the pylons, which I think is goofy. Why would you not? And that's another thing. For the Thorns build, like... everything is so good since the indestructible pylon actually gives you a Thorns bonus. That's really good. The cooldown pylon's freaking amazing. The damage one works pretty well. Ironically enough, I actually don't think the lightning, whatever it's called, does enough damage to be worth it almost. Almost. And hopefully we can hit this on this level. See how much dead space would have actually been in there? You know what, I'm going to double back. I'm still going to do on this stage. Oh, see? Only had to kill one more. Or two. dead. 11 minutes. 11:53. The greater rifts tend to be, was it 15, 16 minutes? So we wrapped this bad boy up in about 3 minutes, 37 seconds. Thank you. And let's hit stop on the recording.